Good day to everyone. I'm Sona Husni, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology. In this slide, we are going to cover about data structure and C programming. So first one is the tokens. Tokens. So what is meant by tokens? Tokens in C is the most important element to be used in creating a program in C. So since token is called as the smallest individual element in C. For example, we cannot create a sentence without using words. In general, we can say that to create a sentence with the form of help of the words. Likewise, to create a program, tokens is used. So that they can say that similarly we cannot create a program in C without using tokens in C. Therefore, we can say that tokens in C is the building block or basic component for creating a program in C language. So tokens are referred as the smallest individual unit in a program. Next, classifications of tokens. Let's see what is meant by tokens. So to write a program or to create a program without tokens, we cannot write a program, since tokens are the smallest individuals in the program. So what is meant by token? What are all the classifications of tokens? The classifications of tokens in C are listed as follows. They are keywords, identifiers, strings, operators, constant, and special characters. So these are all the classifications of the tokens. Let's see one by one. So first one, variable. So what is mean by variable? To write a program, we have to understand what is mean by the variable. A variable is the name of the memory location. It is used to store data. Its value can be changed and it can be reused many times. So variable is the way to represent the memory location through a symbol so that can be easily modified. So variable is the name of the memory location. Suppose when we are declaring or we want to get a value or marks, so where it is stored, there is so variable is the name of the memory location. If you want to store any numbers, values or digits, something etc., so the name of the memory location which is defined as the variable. So we have already seen that in program we have several syntax. So how the variable is used? So how to declare a variable, type variable list. First of all, we have to mention the type which is declared as data type. So data type, which means that what kind of data you are going to store. If you want to get the marks, to calculate the student mark, we have to get the mark. So mark is the data type of int. So we have to declare the data type. First of all, why we are using the variables, or what are the ways to declare the variables? So why the variable is why we have to set that variable should be declared, which means that declare a variable which is used to understand two main things. That is, the compiler can understand the name of the variable. Next, the variable which is used to store the value, to specify the data type. So the compiler can understand both the name of the variable and the data type of the variable which is to be used. Some of the examples are given for declaring the variable. So we have seen that syntax type variable list. So int is the data type, the variable name is A. Next, float is the data type of variable name B. Next, char is the data type of variable name C. So A, B, C, these are all the variable names of different data types. Int, float, char. So what is meant by int, float? These are all the data types. Integer, which means that signed integer, unsigned integer, we have indicated as plus or minus, since this is the integer which represents the whole number. Float, which represent the decimal values. For to represent the temperature, Celsius, we have mentioned that decimal point or in exponential form. So for that options, float data type is used. Next, character. So character, which means that single character which is enclosed in the single quotes. So string, which is used to represent the group of the character. So these are all the example for declaring the variable. Next one, keywords. So keyword which is referred as a reserved word. You cannot use it as a variable name, constant name. There are only 32 reserved words in the C language. So reserved word, which means it has specific meaning. We cannot use that name as the variable or the constant name. It has predefined purpose. So C has totally 32 reserved words. Next one, identifiers. So identifiers which represent the name in the C program. For example, so what are all the example of identifiers? They are variables, functions, arrays, structures, union, labels. An identifier which can be composed of letters such as uppercase, lowercase letter, underscore, digits. But the starting letter should be either an alphabet or an underscore. These so identifier which represent the name. To specify the name, we have used an identifiers. For example, variables is given. So rules for defining an identifier. We simply say that which represent the name. So how to declare the name? How to use represent the name? So there are certain rules for specifying an identifier. It composed of letters such as uppercase, lowercase. So uppercase in the sense capital letters, and lowercase in the sense which represent the small letters, and underscores, some special symbols such as underscore, that also used. But while representing the name, the starting letter should be either an alphabet or an underscore. That is not some special characters are not used. So there are some certain rules for naming an identifier. So here the rules for constructing identifiers. I can say that while giving the name of the variable, there are some certain rules. The rules are as follows. First of all, the first character of an identifier should be either an alphabet or an underscore, and then it can be followed by any of the character, digit or underscore. So it is the combination of character, digit or underscore. So the first character should either be an alphabet or an underscore. Next one, it should not begin with any numerical digit. So first point we can mention that it should be either start in alphabet or underscore. So it does not begin with an numerical digit. Next point, an identifier, both uppercase and lowercase are distinct. So distinct, which means that same. Therefore, the identifiers are said to be case sensitive. So case sensitive. So what is meant by case sensitive? Case sensitive, which means that it represents the difference between the capital letter and the small letter, which is referred as case sensitive. Commas or blank spaces cannot be specified within an identifier. When we are naming the variable, while naming that, for example, we have to get the student marks. For that, the variable name given as student marks. So student mark, there is no blank spaces or any commas between the name. So the blank spaces and the commas should be avoided while naming the variables. Next one, the main thing is that keywords cannot be represented as an identifier. We can say that keywords are the preserved words that can have the predefined meaning. So that words cannot be used as an identifier. Keywords, some of the examples of keywords are switch, break, auto, case. So these are all the name of the keywords that should not be represented as the name of the identifier. Next one, the length of the identifier should not more than 31 characters. So the length also be fixed. It should not more than 31 characters. Identifier should be written in such a way that should be meaningful, short and easy to read. If while we are naming the variable, it should be related or meaningful. That means if we are calculating the student mark list for perform this arithmetic calculation, we can use the variable name as sum. For getting the marks, we can represent it as for getting more than thrice marks for in all subjects, we can identify the mark as M1, M2, M3 that wise. So the name of the identifier should be meaningful so that the programmer can easily understand what is the name of the variable and why it is used. And should be short, which is easy to read. So these are all the rules for constructing an identifiers. Next one, strings. So what is meant by strings? Strings in C are always represented as an array of characters having null character /0 at the end of the string. This null character denotes the end of the string. Strings in C are enclosed within double quotes while characters are enclosed within single characters. The size of the string is the number of characters that the string contains. Char A of 10 is equal to Java point. So simply strings is referred as a group of characters, that means group of words. Character which denotes the single characters, so string which denotes the group of characters. It should be identified by using the quotes because characters are enclosed within the single quotes while strings are enclosed within the double quotes. Next one, operators. The main thing is an operator. So what is meant by operator? An operator is simply a symbol that is used to perform operations. That can be of many types of operations like arithmetic, logical and bitwise. While we are asking what is meant by operator, which means an operator is a symbol. We can say see some of the examples. So operator is a symbol which is used to perform the operations. Some of the operations. So what type of operations? That is arithmetic, logical and bitwise. There are different types of operations in C language. They are listed as follows: arithmetic operators, relational operators, shift operator, logical operators, bitwise operators, ternary or conditional operators, assignment operators. So these are all the list of operators. Let's see one by one. So first one, so here constant. So next classification of token is constant. So what is meant by constant? A constant is a value or variable that can't be changed in the program. For example 10, 20. So here are some of the examples. So simply constant refers to the fixed value that should not be changed. We can say that a compile time, runtime. So during runtime also the values cannot be changed. It is fixed. That can be say that constant is a value or variable that can't be changed in a program. So how to define that constant? There are two ways to define the constant in C, such as by using the const keyword. Next one has defined preprocessor. So constant, which means it refers to the values that does not change during the execution of program. And the ways to define the constant is by using the const keyword and has defined preprocessor. Next one, data types. So data type which specifies the type of data that a variable can store, such as integer, floating, character. So data types which is used to specify the type of data. So at the program execution while getting the mark, we can use the integer data type. Sometimes we have to specify the mark in floating or decimal point. We can specify the data type as float. Next one, primitive data types. So there are different types of data types: primitive, user defined, derived types. So primitive data types are the most basic data types that are used to representing simple values such as integer, float, characters, etc. User defined data types, that is defined by the user himself. Derived data types that are derived from the primitive or built-in data types, which is referred as derived data types. So here is the program to print the size of different data types in C. So data types, which means that kind of data, that is integer, float. So here the program which print the size of the different data types. In C it follows the specific structure. It is a structured programming language. So first of all we have to use the header files. Next comes the main function, which is the entry block of the program. So this is the starting point where the main function is the starting of the program. So first of all we have declared the data type int. Next, variable name size of int. Here he noted that there is no space. Instead we can set that while naming the variable, commas and blank spaces are not used. So here underscore is used in the blank space, size of int. So instead of leaving the blank space, at that space underscore is inserted. So size of int is the name of the variable. Next, size of keyword is used. Size of int. Next line int size of char is equal to size of char. So the first three lines which is used for declare. So next one we have print the size of int data type. We can use the format specifier %d which represent the integer number /n. So /n which represent the escape sequences. So escape sequences which means that /n, this is the example of the escape sequences. /n which means new line. While printing the size of int, it moves to the next line. If suppose we are using the /t which means tab, it move on space. Tab t which represents the tab key which moves tab represents. So the /n which is used to move the cursor to the next line. That is meant by n which represents the new line. Next, while using the printf statement which is used to display the set of statements which are enclosed in the double quotes. So next in output it displays the size of char data type. So here also integer is to be written. So the %d format specifier is used. Next, the size of float data type. At last double. So the output is as follows. The size of int data type, size of char data type, size of float, size of double. So to return the size of the data type, the size of keyword is used. Next one, operators. So these are all about the classifications of tokens. Next comes then operator. So first of all we have seen that operator is a symbol which is used to perform operations. So what kind of operations? It can be referred as an arithmetic logical bitwise. So what is meant by arithmetic logical bitwise are referred as follows. So there are following types of operators such as arithmetic, relational, shift, logical, bitwise, ternary or conditional operator, assignment operator. So here note it down that ternary or conditional operator. So both which refers to the same operator. So first one, arithmetic operators. We say that operators is a symbol. So what kind of symbol? There are different types of operators. So arithmetic operators which is used to perform the common mathematical operations. Some of the arithmetic operators are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, decrement. These are all the arithmetic operators. So addition, we have said that to add the two values, addition is used. Subtraction which is used to subtract one value from another. These are all the common arithmetic calculations. Multiplication which multiplies the values, given values. Division. So here comes that division and modulo division. There is a difference between the division and modulo division which is represented as follows. So division which divides one value by another, modulus which returns the division remainder. So while dividing the number, given number, there is a quotient and remainder. If you want to get the quotient value, division is used. To get the remainder value, the modulo division is used. Depending upon the program, to specify which is division or modulo division, we can use both the operations. Next one, increment. Increment, for example, if you are using a++, here a value is 5, which means it increment the value of the variable by 1. So for that purpose, increment operations is used. Next one, decrement. So decrement which is means decrease the value of the variable by 1. So whatever the value of the variable, for incrementing the value, that is increasing the value by 1, we can use an increment operator. and decreasing the value we can use the decrement operator. So these are all the arithmetic operators so which are used to perform the mathematical operations. Some of the arithmetic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, decrement. Next one, assignment operator. So assignment operator, the name itself, assignment operator which is used to assign the values to the variable, which means that we are assigning the right hand side values to the left hand side variable name. So for that the operator is equal to. So the equal to symbol is used to assign the value. Here is an example, that is int x is equal to 10. So the 10 is the value which is assigned to the variable name x of int data type. So for assigning the value of the right hand side to the left hand side variable name, the assignment operator is used. Next one, relational operator. So we are all specifying some of the operators. So what does mean by relational operator? So relational operator, when we are comparing two values, this relational operator is used. While comparing two variables or two values, while comparison is done, the relational operator is used. So why it is used? In programming, when we are make two decisions or find answers depending upon the decision. So to find the answer or to make the decision, the relational operator is used. So the value returned by the relational operator is either 1 or 0. If it is written true, that means 1, or false. In the term methodology, computer methodology, these zeros and ones are represented as Boolean values. So zeros and ones which are indicated Boolean values. So while comparing two or more values, two values, the values written which is it true, which means it written 1 or false. So ones and zeros are represented as Boolean values. So some of the relational operators are as follows: equal to, not equal, greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal. So these are all the list of relational operators. Next one, logical operators. Logical operators which is used to test whether true or false. The given value is true or false, which is used to determine the logic between the variables or values. So some of the logical operators are logical and, logical or, logical not. So what are all the difference between three logical operators? So logical and or not, we have referred as in truth table. So logical and, which means it returns true. When two or more expressions are used, it returns true if both the statements are true. Suppose there are some expressions, if both the expression returns true, that is 1 1 0 0. So both expression returns true, it returns the statement true. Logical or, which means that if any one of the statement is true, either first statement true or second statement is true, so either one of the statement is true, it returns true. But in logical and, it returns true if both the statements are true. In or, if returns true if any one of the statement is true. Logical not, it means that if it is false, it returns true. If it is true, it returns false. So it say that it reverses the result. So these are the explanation for logical and, or, and not. Next one, shift operator. So shift operator, it is a binary operator that requires two operands to shift or move the position of the bit to the left side and add zeros to the empty space created at the right side after shifting the bits. So it is a binary operator, which means zeros and ones. It is used to shift the position of the bit. If it is there at empty space, it adds the zeros while shifting the bits. Next one, bitwise operator. In C, following 6 operators are known as bitwise operators. They are used to perform bitwise operations, zeros and ones. So to perform bitwise operations, the bitwise operator is used. So some of them are bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise XOR, Left shift, right shift, bitwise not. So same thing and, which means we take two numbers and do AND operations. The result of AND is 1 only if both bit are 1. We can already see that while performing the AND operations, it returns true if both the operations are said to be true. So that is noted as follows. The bitwise AND in C or C++ takes two numbers as operands and does AND on every bit of two numbers. The result of AND is 1 only if both bit are 1. So if suppose OR, which means that if any of the two bit is 1, the result of the OR is 1. That is an OR main function. So if any of the two bit is 1, its result is 1. So XOR, which means that if two bits are different, if any of the two bits is 1, it returns 1 in bitwise OR operation. In bitwise XOR operation, if the two bits are different, that is 0, 1, 1, 0. So the two bits are different, the result of XOR is 1. Next one, left shift. Left shift take two numbers. The left shift the bit of the first operand and the second operand decides the number of places to shift. Same thing, right shift, which moves the bit right. Number of places to shift. Bitwise not. So not, which represent it inverts. That means it reverses the result. It inverts all the bits. Takes one number and reverse all the bit. So the major difference and, which means that if both the bits are 1, that is 1 1 0 0, if both the bit 1 1, which means that if both the bits are 1, it result 1. Bitwise OR, which means that if any of the two bit is 1, it result is 1. In XOR operation, if both the bits are different, the result is 1. The bitwise NOT, which inverts all the bits given in the number. Next one, conditional operator. So conditional operator is also known as the ternary operator. So it can be also said that ternary operator. So the conditional statements are the decision making statement which depends upon the output of the expression. So it can be represented by two symbols, question mark and colon. So the syntax of the conditional operator is expression 1, question mark, expression 2, colon, expression 3. So it is similar to the if-else statement. And it also used for, that is the if-else, which means that decision making statement, because while checking the expression 1, if the condition is true, it returns expression 2. If the condition is false, it returns expression 3. So for while concluding then if-else statement, if the condition is true, the given statement is executed or the else part is executed. So the conditional operator is similar to the if-else statement. So that is mean by expression 1, expression 2. So in the above syntax, expression 1 is a Boolean condition that can be either true or false. If the expression 1 result into a true value, then the expression will execute, 2 will execute. The expression 2 is said to be true only if it returns the non-zero value. If the expression 1 returns false, then the expression 3 is executed. The expression 3 is said to be false only when it returns 0 value. So these are all the operators which is used. So in this slide, we have covered the topics of what is meant by tokens, classifications of tokens, and what are all the operators, different types of operators, and how it functions. Thank you.